The season has officially come to an end, and the Miami Hurricanes ended up winning it all on the arm of Samuel Mateo, the Heisman, the All-American, staying undefeated, one of the best teams to ever take the field, and since 2001, they once again hold up the crystal ball, winning the national championship. And now for a quick review of the season. First, we have the broken records, an NCAA record for Samuel Mateo, 205.4 QB rating, and another NCAA record, 68 passing touchdowns in a season. For a school record, he broke the passing yards in a season, 4,667, and also broke the school record for passing touchdowns in a season with 68, the previous being 39, 107 total school career passing touchdowns for Samuel Mateo. Damari Jones, receptions in a season, broke the record with 80, and also broke the receiving yards in the season record with 1,562 yards, and also the receiving touchdowns in the season record, school season record, 23 touchdowns. Total touchdowns in his career for the school broke the record as well, 30 for him. Earl Moore, 20 sacks in the season, broke the school record for Miami. And for TCU, Tyler Matthews broke the school season record with 4,350 passing yards and 46 touchdowns, a record since 2010. Gray also broke the school record for receptions in the season with just by one, 68, and the receiving record for receiving yards record with 1,275 yards, and the school's receiving touchdown record with 15. And last but not least, Tommy Miller, 22 sacks in the season for TCU. And now just total NCAA stats. The leading receiver for the season was Max Brown, lost the national championship, followed up by Samuel Mateo and Tyler Matthews. And for the rushing title, Osborne took it with nearly 2,000 yards, 1,901, averaging 6.1, 18 total touchdowns, and Kyle Hicks came in at third with 1,800 yards. Receiving, Mitchell took it with 1,622, followed by Damari Jones, and Gray is on there as well from TCU, all the way at number 8. With 118 total tackles, Kevin Berry led the NCAA from Northern Illinois. He had 2.5 sacks on the season. Tommy Miller led with tackles for loss with 41. Earl Moore also in the mix with 29. And the QB sack leaders were Tommy Miller and Earl Moore, 22.5 for Tommy Miller and 20 for Moore. Everyone else, half of that. Lawson's also on there, and so is Muhammad. And Tyree Williams from Kansas had 10 interceptions on the season, followed by Foreman and Wilkerson with 8 each, and then also Akins and Ellis, and the rest after that had 7. And for total offensive yards, that goes to USC with 7,385 total offensive yards. And they also led with the most passing yards, 5,097, followed by Miami and TCU. Although USC and Miami were far ahead, and rushing record, that goes to the rushing title goes to Navy with 3,918 yards. And then we have the points per game. Miami took it by a whole touchdown almost, 49.7, followed by Oklahoma, and TCU is on there, number 3, 41.9 for them. And passing touchdowns by a lot, Samuel Mateo and Miami Hurricanes with 68, USC with 56, TCU is on there with 46. And for the rushing title, that goes to Michigan with 42 total rushing touchdowns for the season. Miami, even though they're not a big running team, came in with 31 at number 9. And for the defense, was there any question? Miami, number 1 defense in the country. Total offensive yards allowed, 3,549, 500 less than anybody else. Air Force had the best pass defense, allowing just under 2,000 yards, 1,998 allowed for them. Miami had 605 total rushing yards allowed. No one even comes close. TCU came in at second with 1,500 yards. And total points allowed, Miami allowed the least with 193. Everyone else was well over 200. LSU had 248 allowed. And for total sacks, that goes to Miami with 60, TCU with 48, Pittsburgh with 45, and the other Miami University with 40. And for most fumbles recovered, that goes to Oklahoma with 12, and Miami is in there with 10. And everyone else had 9 in the top 10. And then for interceptions, it goes to Miami with 2 more than Troy, 24 total for Miami University. Clemson had 18, rounding out the top 10. And now focusing specifically on TCU and Miami since the series is on them. Tyler Matthews, 4,350 yards, 46 touchdowns, 19 total interceptions, 310 yards per game on average, 159.6 QB rating. Hicks had a monster year, over 1,800 yards, 17 total touchdowns. The closest one was Matthews with 192 yards. Gray also had a great season, 2 1,000-yard receivers for TCU, Gray and Eccles-Looper, and they had 15 touchdowns and 11 respectively. And Miller was the best defensive player of the year, 22.5 sacks, followed by Lawson with 11. Everybody else was in single digits. 5 players with forced fumbles this year: Noteboom, Kindred, Miller, Gunn, and Lawson. Overall, a good year for this defense. And for interceptions, Patterson with 3, Kindred with 2, Walter, Briggs, and Shaw each had 1. Not a lot of turnovers for the TCU squad this year. And for kicking, the freshman kicker, Spencer Parker, 36 was his longest. He was 13 of 16 this year. He had a game-winning field goal against Texas. Kick returner, the best returner in the league this year was Deontay Gray. 2 touchdowns kick returning, and then 923 yards total, 34 average, and then 15 average on punt returns, 665 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, the 86 was his longest. And for Miami, Samuel Mateo had over 4,600 yards, 68 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, turned around big time since the previous year. And for rushing, Joe Smith came in as a late starter with over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. Samuel Mateo had a total of 9, and Edwards also had 9 despite being benched. And Damari Jones, Coley, and Dobert were all 1,000-yard receivers. No one even came close after that. Dobert had a 14, and then Coley and Jones both had over 20 touchdowns. Earl Moore had 20, doubling the second guy, Muhammad, with 10. Johnson had 8 sacks for the season. And then for forced fumbles, there was a whole bunch of players, but Grace had 3. He was a star this year, the linebacker. And then Johnson had 2, and then everybody else had 1 after. 9 players. 5 interceptions for Artie Burns, 5 for Dortch, 3 for Elder and Hope, 2 for Figueroa, Fellows, and Carter, and 1 for Connor and Dixon. And now the All-American list. Leading it is Samuel Mateo, All-NCAA first team, Kyle Hicks from TCU, Damari Jones from Miami, Isadora, right guard from Miami, Gabdoy, right tackle, Miller, Muhammad, Moore, Lawson all made it, and middle linebacker Connor from Miami also made it. And then rounding it out, Deontay Gray as a returner, and Kindred from TCU, the safety. And for second team All-NCAA, starting it off is Stanish Dobert, tight end from Miami, had a great season. Johnson, both defensive linemen from Miami. Dak Shaw, and then Artie Burns from Miami, second team All-NCAA. Continuing it is Jamal Carter, free safety, and Fellows, the strong safety from Miami. Freshman All-Americans, Kevin Dunn, he was a good receiver for Samuel Mateo. Turner made it from Miami, so did Baker, Lewis, Johnson, Brown, and Horn, a ton of freshmen on the Miami squad. And then Clint Dixon was a freshman free safety who also made the list. And for all ACC, we have Mateo, Jones, Coley, Dobert, Witherspoon, Isadora. You're going to see a lot of Miami on here. Gabdoy, Johnson, Muhammad, Moore, Johnson, Connor, McKinnon, Grace, Burns, Fellows, Greenwood, and the punter Harley even made the list for first team All ACC. For the All Big 12, we have Kyle Hicks, Deontay Gray. Oklahoma's Trevor Knight took the first team QB. Vaitai, Miller, Lawson, and Shaw, first team All Big 12. And then Derek Kindred, the strong safety, and their free safety, Jay Heron, also made the list, first team All Big 12. And then second team All Big 12, Matthews was there, Eccles-Looper, Burnett, the tight end, and Fromayan, the left tackle. So now what are we going to do moving forward now that the season's over? Walker in his first season had a target of 8 wins. He got 11. TCU was very happy with him, but they have a change in staff. Collins got an extension, the defensive coordinator, but Jay Anderson, the offensive coordinator, left. We got Corey Robinson, the new OC. And where did Anderson go? He became the head coach at Rice University. And for Miami, they had one change. The defensive coordinator left for a new job. Patterson left. Now Treadwell is the defensive coordinator. Gary Patterson went to become the head coach for the Georgia Bulldogs. So what is next for Samuel Mateo, and what's in store for Coach Walker in his second year at TCU? Stay tuned, guys.